Hello, my fellow wave riders. Just want to get back at you about this dinar shenanigans. Came at you my last video and told you that Iraq has stopped its currency from leaving its borders. For all you dinar holders out there, I've been holding them since the 80s. That's a pretty significant change. You may like what you're hearing. So I just want to give you a couple of little facts that's been happening that the news has not talked about. These are statements from, well, I'll give you the first statement. This is from the Iraqi president. Okay, he said on the 20th, full liberation of Mosul in next few days. Okay. But he also said that there's actors working, unfortunately, to promote the idea of the deterioration of the exchange rate. Okay, well, that's one thing from the president of Iraq. And here's another statement from our president. He said that I think that the dollar is too strong, and that's hurting. It's very hard to compete with a strong dollar, and when other countries are devaluing their money. Now here's another statement from another one from Hillary Clinton. She said that she thinks Iraq is gonna boom in the next couple of years. These are so-called head of states. The Iraqi president, President Trump. And there's countless other presidents out there that are saying that they want to get away from the US dollar, from the petrodollar. China, Russia, and just recently, the Philippine president said that Americans, the American West is just double talk. And he wants to get away from them and go steer towards China and help Russia's help in dealing with them. So those are just a couple of statements that have been out there and that aren't being reported. Okay. Now that I want to get to another thing that Donald Trump said. All through the contest, Trump was saying that China's a currency manipulator, and that was one of his talking points, saying that he's going to go against China and make them stop their manipulation and all that. Well, there's a reason why he hasn't done that yet. We're all going to have to manipulate our dollars. The whole world is going to have to think about what they want to do with their currencies. So, what's that going to make us? It's going to make us a currency manipulator. Something's going on. So there's a reason why he hasn't laid into China. And that is the reason. So with all that being said, oh wait, there's a couple other things. Let me look at my list right here. There's a couple of other things. The Iraqi PM urges refugees to come home. All those people that left during this war with ISIS, tell them all come back home. 2 months ago, President al-Badi said that they would be fully out of Chapter 11 in the next 2 months. That was 2 months ago. Now the United Nations Security Council on Monday is going to hold a session and talk about the potentials of Iraq and what they need to do with Iraq. Don't forget, Iraqi's money was 3-to-1. That meant we had to pay $3 to their $1, one dinar. And that was in the 60s. You know, and then central banks got involved and changed a few laws and made countries look bad, so their currency failed against the dollar because of the petrodollar and all that, and all the other countries signing on. And there's still a few countries that never signed on to that petro deal, and Philippines is one of them. So what happened to the Philippines? They're poor, they're weak supposedly, because they didn't sign on with all these other countries on the petrodollar scam. So that's what's going on. Now, there's a few things that had to happen in order for Iraq to do the revaluing currencies and revalue their money back to the glory days, they say. Back when Saddam Hussein was all good and king. Their currency was 3-1 back then. But there's a couple of things that needed to be done. I'll just throw up few of them. They needed the IMF off their back. They needed to get off of Chapter 11. So what I just say, 3 months ago, President Abadi said that they're going to be getting off of Chapter 11 in 3 months. Okay? They had to pay all their debts and all this because during all this shenanigans, the wars and all that stuff, they accumulated a lot of debt. So they had to pay off their claims and all that stuff, and they're pretty much done with that. There's still countries, well, the United Nations and all them people are still giving them money because they know that they need to get them on their feet. They're getting back on their feet, and they want a piece of the pie. So they know what's going on. Okay? They had to pay all their lenders and everything they owed money. They had to make a budget. All the countries have their own budgets. U.S. has a budget, Russia has a budget, all the countries have a budget. So they had to bring their budget onto the United stage. And they did that. So they have a budget once this war and all this stuff stops. And one of the last things is that they had to get ISIS out of there. Now, in my last video, I told you that the maps that we're getting still shows 30% of Mosul under ISIS control. But the maps they have, only like 5 to 10%, a little bit of that map is so-called under ISIS control. So that's already being done. I mean, we wouldn't have the Iraqi president come out saying full liberation of Mosul in the next few days if 30% of the country was still under ISIS control. So that's what we're getting over here. So what I'm trying to say is, we got all these presidents, all these people saying that our money's too weak, our money's too strong, and that these other countries are manipulating their dollar. Hillary Clinton even said that she thinks Iraq's gonna boom. So that's what's being done. I mean, my last statement of the Iraq keeping their money on their side is still true. It still holds true. So we got businesses over there in Mosul already opening up. Families are already moving back. These companies would not set camp if they knew there was a war going on. Just common sense. So don't forget, 1960s it was 3-1. That meant if you had $1,000 of their currency, it would be worth over here $3,000. So on, so on. $25,000 notes they have. What would that come out to? So that's what's going on, and I'm excited to see what's happening on Monday. For all you people that have been holding on to this Iraqi dinar, keep your ears open, because they want it to come back to their glory days. That's what the Iraq PM said. They want to be back in the position where they were with Saddam Hussein, and that was 3-1, 3.2 to R1. And just on a, so the Iraqi dinar is going to be, we have what we have over here in the United States, just like all the other countries have what they have. But if Iraq is not going to let their money out anymore, I think it would be a good time to invest in some Iraqi dinar. So just want to let you know, food for thought. The website I used to go to buy Iraqi dinar, they usually had you can buy $100,000 of Iraqi dinar. You can buy $200,000, and so on, $300,000. But now I went back to that same site to check things out, and I clicked on a $100,000 dinar, and they say they're sold out. 100,000 means the four $25,000 notes, but you can still buy $250,000 worth of dinar, and $350,000, $450,000, up all the way up to $1 million of dinar. So what I'm thinking is that they're just trying to make as much money as they can, because there's just not a way to get that dinar back over here to the United States. So what do? They stop selling it at the cheaper rates and packages, and tell you can only buy the $250,000, because that's double of the $100,000, so that's like $100, $100 something dollars more. So they're taking away. There's going to be a time when we can't get that money, and when that happens, well, shoot, I don't know what's going to happen. But for you Iraqi dinar holders, what's happening now is it's interesting, to say the least. Okay? But again, the Iraqi president said there are actors working, unfortunately, to promote the idea of the deterioration of the exchange rate. Mr. Big don't like this. Mr. Big wanted to keep the status quo. Okay? Last time this was going to happen, this had a possibility of happening. Well, it's been like 3 or 4 times. And the first time I heard about it is when we went to war over there in the Gulf. They were talking about doing the same thing. There was a war. The third time I heard it happen was Gaddafi was talking about getting off the gold standard, getting back on the gold standard, and getting away from this petrodollar. That poor man was dragged through the streets. And then so on. I mean, we just had the 9/11 attack, and we went to war again, and that was in the air then. So are they going to pull off another war just to keep the status quo going? I mean, Donald Trump just made a big old deal to sell Iran a bunch of military equipment, and I heard word on the street is that he just signed another thing saying that we're going to be sending 25,000 troops over there to fight the war in Iraq, which makes no sense, because Iraq is mostly already done. But then it's also in the same paragraph as Syria, the keeping ISIS out of Syria. I don't know if that's just another way to say we're going to war again to stop this malarkey, stop us from getting paid, or if it's just to keep ISIS out of Iraq so that Iraq gets some stability and keeps their people straight, and so the revaluation can start again this time. Don't know. But there's a lot of things going on that are happening, and I just want to keep you guys informed. Now may be a good time to invest in Iraq. That our dollar is getting hit, and no matter what they tell you, other countries are in the works of getting away from our petrodollar. Keep that in mind, guys. This may be just another conspiracy theory. Like I said, it's been out there since the 80s, but a lot of things had to happen, and we're already down to the last maybe one or two. So is the rally going to happen? I hope so. But we'll find out. It's Riding Wave 777. Share this if you like it. Subscribe. I'll try to keep you guys up to date. We'll find out on Monday what's going to happen. Alright. Pray, guys. God will show you the way. Adios.